Hi everybody, it's Keren here from tuppencecoloured.co.uk and thank you very much for joining me today. This is the card that I've been making today. It looks like an ordinary birthday card. Very, very innocent, very nice. But when you open it, it fires confetti all over you. It's got a mechanism inside. It's worked by an elastic band, and when you open the card, this piece here just pops forward. All right. It is quite straightforward to make, although I did have a bit of a journey making it, and I'll tell you where I went wrong along the way. So stay with me and I'll show you how to make one. Here are the things that I'm going to be using today. My card base is 4 inches by 11 5/8 of an inch, and this is Peekaboo Peach. I've got another piece of Peekaboo Peach which I've just cut the entire width of the piece of A4 card, and I've cut it at 2 3/4. So this is 2 3/4 by 8 1/4 ish. Okay. I've got a piece of the Picture Perfect Birthday DSP. I've taken the one with the candles, and on the back of it it's got that rather attractive pattern. And I've cut this to 3 3/4 by 5 1/2. I'm going to be using the Picture Perfect Birthday stamps. I mean, I had to, didn't I? Because look at that one, cue the confetti. That's absolutely perfect, as if it were planned. I'm going to stamp using Tranquil Tide. I've got a piece of glassine paper, and I'm not quite sure how big I cut that. I have to measure that, because this is 2 1/4 inches square. Now I'm using glassine because I happen to have any. What you want is some kind of lightweight paper, so tracing paper, tissue paper, even thin copy paper. That will work just fine. I've got some scraps for stamping and punching, and I've got some Peekaboo Peach and some Lemon Lime Twist, and I also did a bit of punching using my using Sweet Sugar Plum, I think it was, because I created a lot of this stuff, which I did just with one of these, just an office hole punch, and I just punched out a load of little circles to make my confetti, and I've also got some hair elastics. I'm going to start by scoring the card base, and I'm going to score it at 5 3/4, and then I'm going to spin it around and I'm going to score it again at 5 3/4, and that, when I close my card, will give me a little 1/8 of an inch channel, and that will really help the card to lie flat when it's finished. On my 8 1/4 inch piece, I'm going to score it at 1 3/4, 3 1/2, 5 1/4, and 7. And then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch, and turn it again and score it at 1/2 inch. Time to do some stamping. I've got my piece of Lemon Lime Twist, and I've trimmed it down to 1 1/2 inches wide. I've got my stamp here that says, today we celebrate the wonderful, brilliant, fabulous you. And I have Tranquil Tide ink on my photopolymer stamp, so I'm lining that up where I want it. Round about there sounds good. And I'm just holding this down to a count of about 1 2 3 4 5 to give the ink time to transfer. And I have a mat underneath, silicone mat underneath. I know some people prefer a piercing mat. Right, now that isn't particularly straight, so fortunately we have magic two-sided paper, and we'll try that again. And this time I'll concentrate on what I'm doing and not yuck so much. And again, 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, that's a bit better. That's as good as it's going to get anyway. Okay, so I'm going to chop it off around about there, and I'm just doing this by eye. I'm just kind of eyeballing it. And I'm going to cut up into the middle. Now I could get my my Bandler triple punch to do this, but I haven't got it out, and you know what, all I'm going to do is to cut from the corner up to the middle of that snip, and that will make a nice banner for the front of my card. And if I bring in my my backing paper here, that is the way that I'm going to want it to sit. This is the card base. Now I've managed to get some spots of Tranquil Tide onto the front of that, but that's not going to matter because that's going to be covered up with my DSP in a minute. So I'm just going to open that up, and I've got Cue the Confetti, and I've already put my finger in the ink. Wonderful. And I'm going to pop that around about there. And if this one isn't straight, do you know what? I'm just going to live with it. But actually that's come out not too badly. And I have this one, which is a row of little crosses. And we'll pop that on there. And got this one here which says Happy Birthday. So I'm going to put this down right at the very bottom, or up a little bit of the card here. Okay. Now because I've got mucky fingers, I managed to get a spot of Tranquil Tide ink there, and I've also managed to get a piece there. But fear not, I have my 3, 2, 1. Now because I was stamping with mucky fingers, I managed to get some spots of ink where I didn't want them. I managed to get one there, and I've got one here. So what I've got is my sand eraser, and this is going to make the table shake a bit. I'm sorry about that, but what I'm just doing is I'm just working away with my eraser just to remove that ink. Okay, and okay, it's not perfect. The surface will never be perfect because there was a mistake happened, but you know what? It saved me having to cut another piece of card and to do it all over again. This is going to be the piece that pops up and throws the confetti. I've gone ahead and I've done a little bit of preparation work off camera. So I've folded my score lines and burnished them with my bone folder. And I've cut little slivers just out of these pieces where the fold lines meet. And I'm going to actually cut away these two pieces here because they are going to be tucked in, and I'm just going to cut just inside of the score and fold line. Okay. Next I'm going to mark where I'm going to make the holes for the elastic. So I'm going to mark there and there. And then I'm going to mark this the next square, and I'm going to mark there and there. Alright, so that's where I'm going to be snipping for the holes for my elastic. Now before I do any of that, I'm going to leave that one. I'm just going to fold these edges in. Come back to that one in just a moment. Some little sticky outy bits here, so just going to remove those so it's all nice and neat. Okay, now I'm going to put a little snip, and I'm making sure that I go onto where my card is doubled. So just like that. And then the same thing here, just put a little snip, making sure I'm going onto where my card is doubled. And the reason why I'm doing that is because when we apply, put the elastic in, it really pulls. And the first version I made of this, if I can show you here, it just tore right through the card. So not making that mistake again. So in with my 1/8 of an inch circle punch now, and just enlarge that gap very slightly. Now if you haven't got one of these handy little circle punches, you could just cut your slit into a sort of an L shaped, and that would work as well. And there. Okay. So next I'm going to take one of my hair elastics, and I'm going to slip it into there. And now I'm going to get some more tape and tape. I'm going to put this along the short piece. Now if you were making this from 12 by 12 card, you could double up. You could make it. You could make this piece the full length, or if you were cutting it lengthways out of a piece of paper, then you could. So what would that need to be? So that's 7 inches, 8 and 8.5 inches. Okay, so if you were using 8.5 by 12, 8.5. I'm just going to stop talking. Alright, so now I'm bringing this piece around over to that piece, and I'm going to take the backing off the tearing tape and tuck that down so that that is nice and strong. And same thing here, because this piece needs to be very, very strong, because there is a whole lot of power, and I don't know why I put that on there. That was silly. So yeah, I'm just going to cut that off. I've put tear and tape onto the bottom of my my flinger piece. So this piece here is going to be the top, and I've taken my little square of lightweight paper. In my case, it's glassine, and I've just folded the corners into the middle, just like that, and creased them down just to make a little envelope. What I haven't done is stick it down. All right, you don't want it to stick down. So I'm going to apply this to the top of my flinger piece, and yes, you are going to be able to see the tape, but I'm not really bothering about that. I just want it to stick down properly. Okay, so that's my bottom, this is my top, and I'm just centering that onto my Flinger piece. Okay. So we are nearly done. I'm going to place this so that I can shut the card and that I have room for it to spring open. So that's about a width from the bottom, because I want it to come up like that. Okay, so taking the backing off the tearing tape, and I also have liquid adhesive, and I'm putting the liquid adhesive on top of the tearing tape and in the gaps in between. And the reason why I'm doing this is so that I will get a lot of good stick. And now I've positioned this so that I've got 2 little holes up at the top there when it's folded, and 2 little holes at the bottom of that square. I'm hoping that makes sense. I will draw some diagrams, okay, measuring diagrams, and I will put them onto my blog, okay, so that if you want to, you can go and check them out on my blog. Okay, so I've got a hair elastic now, and I'm going to fit that through those 2 holes at the top and through those 2 holes at the bottom. Okay, and now when I let go, that pops up. Okay, and I just redid that sequence because when I came to put it together, I realised that I put this piece in upside down and it wasn't working the way that I wanted it to work, and I thought I pressed record. I was wrong. So just to recap what I've done differently this time, first of all, I've put some squares of DSP. It's from the same pack, from the Picture Perfect birthday, and I've cut some squares that are 1.5 inches on a side and just mounted them on the panels just to make it look a bit prettier and to give it a little bit of strength. And when I've mounted this onto my card, I want to make sure that that is in the down position, because I want it to pop up and give the and throw the confetti. So I've got 2 little holes at the top and 2 little holes at the bottom, and now I'm just going to add my elastic into there and into there. All right, and when I positioned it, I made sure that when it popped, okay, so that's the lock and loaded position, and it'll come like that. I've added a few finishing touches to the inside of my card. I realised that when I'd stamped Happy Birthday down there, when the card was open, you couldn't actually see it. So I've covered that up with a bit of DSP, restamped the sentiment onto a little bit of Peekaboo Peach, cut it out and cut it onto my platform there, and then I've added in a few more stripes of the same DSP, which is, again, it's from the Picture Perfect birthday set, to make it look like I meant it. All right. So I'm just going to put a couple of pinches of my homemade confetti in here, not too much. Don't want to go mad. Right, so now I'm going to lock and load my card. Lift it up and flip it over. And now I'm going to close the card front onto it. And okay, fingers crossed. 3, 2, 1. It fires the confetti at me. My finished Flinger card, and I've got it. Okay, Okay, so there is my finished Flinger card, and it is loaded. So if I let it go, there goes the confetti all over the place. So hope you've enjoyed that. I had a few changes of design direction along the way while I was making that one, but that is it for today. Thank you very much for joining me. Please do come back and see me again soon. Bye bye.